This is the biggest 3D printer I have, and believe me, it's really huge and intelligent one. This is exactly what I need for my experiment. I want to make my biggest 3D print, and I hope I can do it today. Although, in fact, it's not right to say that I can do it today, because such a print will take at least several days, even on such a fast and huge printer. Just look at how big it is compared to me. I'm Ukrainian and I want to print one of our symbols, Mother Ukraine, the biggest monument in Europe. And since it is the biggest one, it will be also my biggest 3D print. You're on the CUBASTIC channel. Let's go. I have already printed large models, for example, The Witcher. You see, it is quite large. What's so special about it? It is printed in several parts. Here's the base and the body itself. There are two different elements, and just the body fits perfectly into the entire build volume. The size of printing area is 350 by 350 by 350, so we have to cut models to print something really big, as we will do in our case. I divided the Mother Ukraine monument model into several parts, to the optimal number of parts, to save quality and make it as big as possible. The body itself will be 700 mm in height. This is already a lot, to be honest. Then we'll print the sword, which we put in one hand, and the shield, which we put in other hand. This will also make it higher. And of course, the base. But the base is a little different from original monument, because it's just not very optimal. I made it a little smaller, to make it look more or less normal. You can calculate and imagine how big this model will be when we glue it all together. But let's start from the beginning. This is how our shield will look like. It will be printed layer by layer. This green, what you see now, this is a support material. It helps us to print details that not connected to the plate directly. That is, they have nothing to stand on. Therefore, the printer makes additional support trees, which will be the basis for the overhangs. And while you watch this satisfying process, make sure to like and subscribe to see even crazier prints. A few seconds have passed for you, and I was waiting for the next day. Our first print is ready. Here it is. Mother's Ukraine shield. Let's see what it looks like. Well, what can I tell you? I did not expect it to be so big. Look, it's huge! And this is the smallest detail that we will print. I am afraid to imagine what final size will be. I did not count on purpose, therefore I give you the opportunity to guess. We have the shield approximately 17 centimeters in height. Write your guesses how much the total height of our Mother Ukraine monument will be. So, I propose to start the next print right away. This is the base. Here it is. It will be big. And if we slice it now for printing, then the print will take 33 hours and 35 minutes. 1.5 days, wow! And the model will weigh 1,202 grams. Wow, more than 2 pounds. And do you know what that means? It means that one spool is not enough. And leaving it for such a long time without reloading the plastic isn't the best idea either. And when during printing the printer uses all the plastic from the first spool, it instantly, without a pause, without any stops and without my help, changes the spool and continues to print with the same plastic from next slot. I guess I'll put all my spools at once, because we will definitely use more than 3 spools in general. And so as not to constantly reload them, I filled all 4 pieces right away. Now we have 4 identical spools there. We can no longer worry about plastic, and there's only a matter of printing ours left. And I'm ready to wait for the result, but for you it will be very soon, so let's start the next print, which will be the largest one. Well, now let's clean the support from the top. It was printed in this way. While I'm cleaning the shield, I see a not very even layer, but this usually happens when you print with supports. But they make it possible to print such overhang elements in almost perfect quality. Well, maybe it's not as perfect as I would like, but with all other parts it will look very good. First, we print print with silk plastic. This is plastic that reflects. It exactly repeats the silver color of the original statue. And secondly, this 3D model was created in a very interesting way. The drone flew around the statue of the Mother Ukraine monument in Kiev, and then with the help of complex or not programs, I don't know how it's done really, a complete 3D model was created. Therefore, there may be flaws in 3D model, but at least it will be an exact copy of the original. Well, now there is still few days to wait. Well, few seconds for you. Wow, the result is ready, and honestly, when I first entered the room, I was very surprised. Just look at this size, a giant thing. It took the whole printing area, 350mm in diameter. It's heavy, and how much plastic did it take? Almost 2 whole spools. Well, this is probably the biggest detail I've ever printed on a 3D printer. Damn, it's really heavy. It weighs more than 1 kilogram. We will put a new 3D print on the last batch of parts. It will take 50 hours. A few more days have passed, and here it is, fully printed. The last print took us a little less than 50 hours. As you can see, it looks epic. Let's sum up. In order to print the Mother Ukraine monument completely, it took us 1, 2, 3, and 4th almost finished spool. You can see 3.5 one. And this is probably the most expensive project for me in terms of plastic. There was no such thing that I printed one model so huge. When I entered the room for the first time today, I was impressed on how big it is. It looks ordinary, only bigger, and I can't wait to take it off the print. It is not that simple. You see, the supports are already breaking. We need supports to hold these overhang elements. The table is quite large, so it's quite difficult to take it out. Oh, it's heavy! This is top of the statue. It's huge, it's very cool to hold in your hands like this. We also have a sword that will be in here, and the main body. Even bigger. We will need to glue it somehow. I hope it will come out pretty smooth, like this. It remains only to clean the support, glue all the details, and we will have a precise, huge copy of the Mother Ukraine monument statue from Kiev. And if you want to have that statue at home, I have a perfect solution for you. I've made this 40 cm long statue, and you can get it on CUBASTIC 3D Etsy shop. I've put all my experience to make it perfect, and now it's ready to decorate your desk, living room or office. Link in the description below. Let's get back to the huge statue. It needs to be cleaned now. In fact, I tried to make it so there was minimal post-processing, but with such a scale and support it's almost impossible. Our sword is the simplest one to handle. The only thing I'll do is take off the edges which the model was connected to the table. By the way, the instrument itself is also printed. And now, let's move on to the base. If you look at it in comparison with all other details, it will be clear that it's actually different from the original. I also changed its shape a little so that it remained as small as possible, just enough to fit the statue, because in the original, if you look, it's huge. The height of the base is 40 meters, and the whole statue is 102 meters. For comparison, it's 9 meters more than Statue of Liberty. So I finished with the base. Let's move on to the main piece with the face. Here we have a lot of overhang elements. It was printed in this way, and everything that hangs under the chin, nose, bottom of the sword guard, as well as some elements of clothing, are supported by such support trees. I'm intrigued by how face will look like. Look how good it is! Impressive! I made a small trick with the other part. I printed it in unusual position, so as not to use the supports here. I just turned it over and thus all clothing just printed straight up. So it is printed quite easily. Here is a difficult task to remove this part, and then we will glue them this way. I hope it's gonna be alright. Now we start the most difficult, but at the same time the most interesting moment. This is assembly and the gluing. I've sanded all the contact surfaces to help gluing later. That was my first time working with such a big model, and I really enjoyed it. And if you also enjoy watching this video and you like my content, subscribe to the channel and like this video. Write in the comments what should I print next. Thank you so much. It was difficult, but look how huge and beautiful it is. Let's give it a few minutes to dry and then sum up. It looks wonderful. Just compare them. 40 cm Mother Ukraine looks just tiny compared to this one. It looks massive, just how big it is and beautiful it is. That was a long journey, and now there is only one question left. What height is my largest 3D model? So, from the table to the top of the sword, we have 113 centimeters, more than a meter. Ooh, it's heavy, I can't get used to it. I really like this print and I hope you too, and I still want to print and experiment. Make sure to write in the comments what else should I print on a 3D printer, how big, what model and with what materials. I will be very pleased to read your ideas. And it will be also very nice if you subscribe to this channel so as not to miss the next interesting video. Order Mother Ukraine on the CUBASTIC 3D Etsy shop, link in the description. Bye bye.